Hello, hello, hello. I am author and entrepreneur, the Cerebral Palsy Vigilante, Zachary Fennell, coming to you from the Voice Over Studio. You are watching me as I do my stairs exercise routine. Obviously, it's called the stairs exercise routine because I am at the staircase doing this. This is the continuation of my series where I'm showing precisely the exercises I do that have guided me to the point where I'm in my early and soon to be mid 30s, but yet I feel like I'm in the best shape of my adult life. So what you've been watching is just I have my right leg up on the step and I'm bringing before I had my hands on the step and on the fourth step, and then I was just bringing my knee over my toes as essentially a warm-up stretch getting started with this routine. Now I've taken my hands off and still bringing that knee forward over my toe, knees over the toes for a 10-second count, and this now not only creates a stretch, but it's causing me to work on my balance because I don't have the steps there. And working on my balance more here, and now rotating side to side, working on keeping my balance. I have that tendency to rotating, making this movement to, and you might be able to tell by how I look a little shaky. I have that tendency that if I'm not controlling the movement, I will just like the jerk of the motion will knock me down. So it's working on the balance. Now the balance work is done. I'm preparing myself to move my right leg up. Brain's sending the signal to my right leg, get up to that third step. It just takes a while for that signal to relate into any kind of action. Now I'm getting a deeper stretch in, having my leg up on that third step, doing the same thing, bringing my knee over my toe for a 10 count and getting a nice fierce stretching. Well, fierce, I'm trying to think the best way to describe this stretch. It feels good. The stretch feels good. But at the same time, you get that stretch. A lot of times when you're stretching, especially if like a physical therapist is stretching you, you get to a point where you feel pain, like you feels painful in the moment, but ultimately the stretch is good for you. This stretch creates that it creates a nice stretch, but it also doesn't feel painful. So it's the right amount of feeling to let you know you're getting a good stretch. And now that I'm done on that side, we're gonna do the same thing here on my left side. Have my left leg up, bringing that knee over my toe for 10 seconds. And I mentioned physical therapy and getting stretched by a physical therapist. These exercises I'm doing here, most if not all of this routine was stuff that I did in physical therapy growing up. I am just continuing to do it as an adult. Kind of a uh, necessity for me to keep my body in check. And since I've already referenced physical therapy, I feel like Now would be a good time to share the mandatory disclaimer to let you know that I am not a physical therapist. I am not a personal trainer. I am not a medical professional. What what you are seeing in this video, what you saw in my other videos, is what worked for me. Before you try something or consider talking to your physical therapist or personal trainer or doctor first and get their input on whether or not this would be good for you. And now as you can see, I have taken my hands off the step and I'm doing that knee over the toe stretch, but that not only gets the stretch but also makes me work my balance. And now more for that rotating. I talked earlier about how the motion can jerk you down. You know, you can't really see because I don't have the footage up by the feet, but you might be able to tell by the way my body's positioned that I had lost balance and had gotten knocked down off the step. Now, what I have to tell myself on this is keeping that. See, now I'm growing. It's getting a little frustrating because I'm like, I try to tell myself, straight and tall over that hip as I'm going, and it can get frustrating. That's when you have to take a step back and reset yourself instead of trying to fight through it and really, creating a fall or anything. I wrote a blog post a while ago about staying safe when exercising with cerebral palsy, and that was one of my keys. Is if you're feeling you're losing it, don't be afraid to pull back, reset yourself, and then reapproach. You said I was able to catch myself that time, but had I not been able to, I would have just brought my leg back down rather than trying to force it. You really need to know your body to be able to do some exercising on your own, to really know when to push it and when to take that step back, because this is a challenge. But at the same time, I've obviously can see that I was able to fix that challenge, and I got my left leg up on the third step a little quicker than on the right side. Because again, you'll notice as I'm going the knee over the toes that the heel on my right foot on the ground came up momentarily. And once I get that knee over the toe, I focus on getting that heel back down. This happens to me every time I do this stretch. And then I just focus on getting the heel back down so I'm not cheating myself, and I get to maximize the stretch. So I should be doing this 3 times, I believe, 2 or 3, usually 3, I believe. It's funny when you get into these routines and you're exercising, you just do. Your body goes on autopilot and just goes. And so it kind of takes a step back and goes, do I do this 2 times, 3 times? But as this is the 3rd time, the answer is obviously 3. Getting that nice stretching, taking a second to shake it off. It's what I've done in other videos too, like in my hands and knees routine, where I am, after doing the leg kicks, I kind of roll out with my body. You get so intense put into a position that you have to relax yourself. And so that shaking off just there was to relax myself and get myself ready for the next activity in my routine. As you see, that next routine is just through those first 3 steps, I am practicing range of motion and moving my leg. Also focuses on landing my foot because as you'll see, my foot wants to toe in there, and so I have to, foot wants to toe in on that 3rd step, so it's controlling the knee and the toe so that it doesn't twist me in. And so it's just randomly in my head, I'll start like shouting commands to myself like 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. And it's also a balance thing because going from 3 to 2 up to 3, you just really, you have to hone your balance. Again, it goes to the idea of that jerky motion. There I was having trouble. I talked about range of motion. I had trouble getting my foot all the way up on that 3rd step. As you're going to see, it's not the only trouble I have. Back down to 1, 3, trying to keep that toe from toeing in and knee from bending in, and again, just lost that balance. And, you know, being in an environment I can control, I knew that I have enough space behind me and the door behind me to be able to know that if I lose it like I did, that I can always go back and kind of like use the door to catch my fall. Where if there was more empty space there, that would have been trouble. And I just tried to lift it again to the 3rd step and had trouble. Now I got it up there, but the knee and the toe, and 1, telling myself 3, and just lost it. And starting to grow frustrated. Don't usually have this much trouble. And so, growing frustrated doesn't do you any good. As I talked about that blog post earlier, I said there's nothing wrong with taking a step back, resetting yourself, and restarting. Exercising is actually harmful if you do it recklessly or if you let frustration get the best of you. So I'm just taking a moment at this time because I've had issue now 2 or 3 times with lifting that leg up, and I'm growing frustrated, and frustration can lead to injury if you don't just clear your mind and reset. So I'm reset now. 3. This is exactly how my mind works. I'll be 3, go to 1. Next up, I'll go 3 or 2, whatever. Obviously here 3. Again, made up in the moment. 2. I always try to get a nice mix-in of going 3, 1, 2, 2, 1. Again, getting that range in to work on the movements and practicing that jerky motion and working on my balance, so when in life when something happens, I'm able to, I have that practice and my body almost goes into autopilot, like, hey, this is like the steps, jerky motion, catch yourself. I'm sure there's like a professional term instead of jerky motion that I should be using, but again, I am not a physical therapist, I am not a personal trainer, I am not a medical professional. If this stuff looks like something you might be interested in doing, I highly encourage you. Ask your doctor, ask your PT, ask your personal trainer if you have one, if they think this stuff would be good for you. Three, two, one, three. And so I usually try to do 2 sets. You saw it was a little more of a struggle doing, again, shaking myself out from the intensity of that workload. But as I said, I usually do 3 sets or 2 sets of just, as a randomized 1, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, that kind of stuff. What's next, you'll see here, I call it the bear crawl. I don't know if that's some official name or just the name my physical therapist and I came up with when I was in physical therapy. As you can see, I don't really need to explain to you what I'm doing because as you can make that out based off the different camera angles you're seeing. You saw from the side, now you're seeing from behind as I push forward, essentially crawling up the steps. So that's at least where the crawl of the bear crawl comes in. The bear part, not 100% sure. I'm up at the top. It's time to come down without holding on to the rail. So again, this is a balance thing, going down the steps without holding on to the rail. In my mind, I picture it, I envision it as a dance, telling myself, shift, heel, toe, shift, heel, toe. Even in that rhythm, that's how in my mind I think of it. It's the shifting over my weight. Now you can really see from this angle, shifting over the leg I'm transitioning, trying to land as best I can, heel toe, shifting heel toe, shifting over the leg that I'm not moving, shift heel toe, shift heel toe. And to let you know, to encourage you, when I first started doing this stair routine again regularly, now I'm about to start up the steps without holding on to the rail. But when I started doing the stair routine regularly again in 2014, there was a point where I had really stopped doing exercises and I was having a lot of issues. But once I started doing the stair routine again in 2014, I would do going down 3 steps without holding a rail, and it was really tough. I was struggling to kind of slip there, didn't really like my footing, so I just adjust and move ahead. Going up, I try to think, or I don't try. I'm often thinking tall and relax, tall and relax, because I have that tendency to start hunching. I'm so concentrated. I think I'm trying to, by hunching, I'm bringing myself lower to the ground, which probably helps me balance. But I can always try, in my mind, you really can't see from the angle, but I try to remind myself to have as best posture as possible and try to relax. Obviously, you're seeing that I'm not really that relaxed. My hands are kind of out there, tightening. I just kind of bracing myself as mentally, it's almost like using invisible rails. But now going back to going down the steps without holding onto the rail. What I was saying before is when I started doing this routine again regularly in 2014, 3 steps was a challenge. Gradually over time I went from 3 steps to 4 steps to 5 steps to, okay, let's do 7. Let's do 8. And now I'm at a point where I'm doing the whole staircase up and down in my routine. So there's things you just have to work up to, and you'll see as I'm coming down, like I feel so natural down on those last few steps now, where it wasn't like that, 6 years ago, as I was doing in 2014 when I was doing this. My legs, or the balance was such troubling that the 3 steps. So this point was a challenge. And now it's just so casual. So let that be encouragement to slowly work up. Do the best you can. So don't try to force yourself to go up an entire or go down an entire staircase. Do 2 steps if you need. Do 1 step if you need. And quite literally, take it 1 step at a time. Speaking of not taking it 1 step at a time, the bear crawl, you see I'm going up 2 steps at a time. This is another way for me to work on my range of motion, which, as you saw with the struggle I had with the stepping from 1, 2, 3 steps, range of motion can be an issue for me if I'm not consistently exercising. So it's a way to work range of motion without having balance being without the stress of also working balance. So it works out. And now that we're up at the top, that ends the PT portion, or I should say, that ends the stair routine. We are now on to muscle building work. And my muscle building activities, I don't have like particular, like I don't always do pull-ups and chin-ups. And I want to get back to what I was saying, but the point here, what I was just doing now there was, the camera didn't pick it up, but with my right foot, I was kind of like tapping my toe, with keeping my heel on the ground and bringing the toe up and doing that 5 times. And what that does is it helps keep my ankle loose. So when I'm doing the pull-ups right here, my ankle doesn't, doesn't lock up on me and tighten. And right now I'm at a point where I'm doing a set of 6 pull-ups, and then after the pull-ups I do a set of 6 chin-ups, which you will see. There was a time where I was doing 8 or more, and just for whatever reason I wasn't getting to do the pull-ups and chin-ups as much, and so I lost a little there, and now I'm working back. One of the hardest things, I went to get a drink of water, so as you look just into the empty house at the moment, that's where I'm at in the kitchen getting my water. So as I was saying, what was I talking about momentarily ago when I had mentioned, before I was going into the toe tapping that I was doing, I wanted to call attention to that. And FYI, after this, we get into the reverse crunches I do. And once we get in the reverse crunches, I'm just going to throw it to real-time audio instead of this voiceover. I chose the voiceover format for this video just because it would the easiest way to explain everything. And just, yeah, I don't have the house to myself, so it's to be considerate of other people. Although you're not seeing anyone else around, still, I don't have the house to myself. So in that space, I was just doing the exercises, figure I can throw in the voiceover and actually have, could you imagine me having to talk to you while I was struggling with some of those range of motion and balancing issues doing the stairs before? So just this was the best way to do this video. So I'm doing chin-ups now. Whatever I was talking to you about before has lost me. I don't think it's imperative, because if it was one of those things that I felt like was an absolute must to tell you, I would have it noted down. Yeah, I'm coming up on, what was that, number 4? Countdown and throwing it to real-time audio. 5. Oh, nope, that was 6. I'm so busy talking that I have lost count. And we of course end with the reverse crunches, or this time around we end with the reverse crunches, because it seems kind of silly to do pull-ups, come up here, do crunches, go downstairs, do chin-ups, and come back. So that's efficiency. You understand, I think. Let's do this. Set up 12. Eight. If you enjoyed these exercise videos, make sure you hit the like button, the like icon, the thumbs up icon to show you've enjoyed the video. For more videos from me, make sure you have subscribed to my YouTube channel and hit the bell icon so that you receive email notification every time I release a new video. Until next time, remember, don't blend in, blend out.